Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Nicole here and I have a great project for you today. Wedding season is just around the corner, and if you are planning on doing any DIY work for your invitations, now is the time to get started. So you want to have your invitations in the mail about 4 months before your wedding, so that way everyone has time to prepare and to send back those RSVP cards for you. And if you're going to do DIY, you don't want to go crazy, especially if you are new to the DIY scene and you think it would be something that's totally fun to do. There's ways that you can create a beautiful invitation without doing too much, but making it look completely custom. So today I have 3 projects that I'm going to share with you. One that is pretty basic, but still stunning, and then 2 that are a little bit more in depth, but still will be something that you can complete in a short amount of time. So we're going to throw in a whole bunch of Tsukineko products, along with some of my favorite stamp sets and stencils for you to see how we can pull these on-trend invitations together. Okay, so before I get started, all of these invitations and RSVP cards that match were printed from a website called greetingsisland.com, and I'll have the link down in my description. It is an online invitation company. You can download and print your own invitations, and they're actually free as long as you keep the copyright on the side here, or you can pay to have the copyright removed, and it's very cheap. You can go ahead and make these completely custom and print them out however you want. You can even change the colors of them, which you'll see I'm going to do in one of the later projects, and you can even take an electronic file to a local print company or your office home or your Office Depot place and have them printed professionally. They have a release form that you can take with you. So it's a super great way for a DIY invitation to get started. Now in this particular sample, it's very simple. I did a gray ink, so it's not quite black, and then a beautiful lavender color. This is Heliotrope Versacolor, and this is very on trend, so the gray and lavender. And I have the coordinating RSVP card. So on this one, I just printed this out on my home computer and cut it down. So this will come out as a 5x7. I cut it down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So that way I can put that border of cardstock behind it. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to spray it with this sheer shimmer craft spray, and this is in the sparkle color, and I'm going to do this on all of the cards. It is super fine, and you probably didn't even see anything happen, right? But let me tell you, it will put on the most beautiful delicate shimmer on your paper, and I can't even really get it to come up on the screen here, which is crazy, but you can see it floating around in there. It is so fine, and once this dries, it will dry completely flat again, so you don't have to worry about it buckling up or anything like that. So you'll know it's dry when it's completely flat. You can spray before or after, either way works. And then for this particular one, we're going for something very simple, just some simple stamping. And all you need is an acrylic block and a stamp set, and I'm using Retro Plantines by Altenew. Now if you have a stamp positioner, that will make it go all the much faster because you'll be able to set up all of your stamps at one time and then just keep inking and stamping and inking and stamping. Now if you don't want to make that kind of investment because you're not sure if you're going to do this beyond your wedding, right, either borrow it from somebody or just use a stamp block. And I'm just going to stamp these guys right on here. And the gray and the purple work really well together because the purple is kind of see-through, so you can still read the words through it after it's been stamped. And that's another nice thing about this particular invitation service is that you can move the elements around. So if you have a bigger stamp that you want to put on your project and you don't want it to cover up the words, then you can kind of move the text around and get it all spaced the way that you want to. So you can see I have this one done already. All right, So as simple as that, I have a beautiful custom invitation, and I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this to a piece of cardstock that is now 5 by 7. So I have a beautiful border around the edge, right? And then this is the finished product. And I have a coordinating RSVP card that I also stamped on. And then they look gorgeous in a vellum envelope, right? So you can put all of this together, add in all your other information, put it in your outer envelope, and get these sent off. So let's take a look at another project. All right, for our second project, and you can see how gorgeous that looks in the vellum, right? I did some of that coloring that I talked about. So I changed the color of the invitation to a navy blue, and then the outside border is more of a Pantone blue, and of course that blue is very popular this year. And then I have some coordinating colors in the design below. And then my RSVP card, I left that just plain, but of course you could soup that up a little bit if you want. So this time I printed on some 98-pound mixed media paper because I am going to be doing some watercoloring. It's thin enough that it went through my printer just fine, and I left my cut borders around here just to show you what that looks like. So I would have the second one over here and just cut them right up the center, and I did that on purpose because when I stamp my image here, and this is Exotic Garden from Alts and New, it's a huge image, right? So I need a big stamp block for that, or again, you can use a stamp positioner. And it's going to kind of overflow, but I don't want to have to worry about like where my ink goes on this. So I'm using VersaFine Clair in Twilight. This is the most amazing ink. It is an oil-based pigment ink and it dries very quickly. And it works perfect with watercolor techniques. And it's going to give me a beautiful crisp image. So I'm just kind of aligning this to kind of border around that little reception to follow at the bottom of my invitation. All right, and then I have that stamped in place. And isn't that just gorgeous? I could leave it just like this and it would be an absolutely beautiful invitation, right? So yes, you can totally leave it like that, or you can use a water brush to do some watercoloring. So I have a few different colors here. This is Delicata in Sapphire Blue, and this is actually got a little bit of shimmer to it. And this is Delicata in Champagne. All right. And then I have two other colors, actually three other colors. This is Versa Magic, so it's a chalk ink, but it also works well for watercoloring. So this is Mango, Pink Grapefruit, and Hint of Pesto. Now, I didn't go crazy with the detail on the watercoloring, so I'm just using my little water brush here, and it has just water in it, and I dilute my color. And then I'm just going to very casually color these in. So this is something that you could do in front of the TV. Once you have these all stamped out, you just have to sit around and do your watercoloring. So do all of your greens first and come in and do all of your invitations with just the green leaves, and then come back in with your next color, etc., etc. Right? So you see how I'm not being super neat here. That's not the point of this watercoloring design. It's going to be a loose watercolor, and I don't care that I've gone outside the lines. It's just supposed to look very casual and artsy, right? So once I have all the green colored in, which is actually the majority of the work here, and even put just a little bit on these little stems here. All right, so I'm just wiping it off on a little wet rag here, and then I can go into my next colors. So into the yellow here, and again, very loose. All right, so then you would go through and you would do all of your yellow flowers on all of your invitations, and then come in with your, this is kind of a peachy color, this pink grapefruit. I'm going to make the rose that color. And here I'm not even really concerned about the lines. I'm just coloring it in right? So I'm not doing this fast just for you on the video. I'm doing this fast in general. And I just add some little extra drops here and there to give it some interest. All right, clean it off on my rag. And then I'm going to go into the champagne here for this flower. And that just gives it a little bit of a beigey color, but it will be shimmery, which is totally awesome. And then for the iris, or the tiger lily on the end here, I'll do blue. And this one I'll do kind of different. I'll do the outside parts first. And then come back in with a little bit darker and try to get that little center part darker. All right, so you can see that you can put together a gorgeous stamped image with some custom watercoloring on it really quick. And then I actually came back in with the yellow. And I'm going to get these guys with a little bit of yellow here, and then you kind of have some balance, right? And then if you want, you can mix your orange and your the grapefruit together, the yellow and the grapefruit, to get more of an orangey color for the center. And there you go. So then I would go ahead and hit this with the shimmer spray again. Oh my goodness. Shimmer all the things. It will amp this up 110%. So now all of a sudden you have gorgeous shimmer paper, right? And you saw that it curled, but it will dry flat. And you trim it down, add it to a piece of blue cardstock, and you have another great invitation for your wedding. All right, so our last project has multiple parts, and this is slightly different because there's no stamping on this one, but there is some watercolor, some blending, and some stenciling. And here's the matching RSVP card. I also did some watercoloring and just a little bit of blending on the side here. So this is another one that you can do your various parts over time and get everything done. So this is the String Lights stencil from scrapbook.com. And I'm going to start with that and the Versacolor in Opera Pink. And I love this because I can just kind of selectively stencil what I want. And I'm just using a little finger dauber for that. All right, so I just get it lined up. And the nice thing about having the lines here is you can see exactly where you want to be. And then I'm just going to pounce my color over here. And you see how that gets right into the stencil. And I want it to kind of cascade up and then cascade back down. All right. And so the stenciling is very simple and done just like that. So cute, right? And then this just washes off with water. No big deal. All right, so that was Opera Pink. And then I'm going to take the Atlantic with this little brush. This is actually a makeup brush. If you're not in the craft world, you might use this for makeup. Well, in the craft world, we use this for blending colors because it's super soft. I could use a sponge dauber, but I might not get it as soft as I would like. So I can use a very gentle touch, just like you would when you're applying blush or bronzer with your makeup, and just get this beautiful blue. So this color palette is playing off of the Hot Pink and Ice Blue, which is very popular for the summer. And so you've got that ice blue at the bottom here and the hot pink at the top. And then we're going to add in a third color. We're going to add in that grapefruit, that corally color, with a little bit of a watercolor wash. That's still a very popular trend, is watercolor. And this is super easy to do, just like you saw before. I just take that and smush it on a palette. It could be a plate, piece of plastic. This is a silicone mat. And then I just have this big old brush. And I'm going to get that super watery. You want to water it down quite a lot. So then I'll clean out my brush. I'm I'm going to brush it across the names here just to get that area activated. And then I'll pick up my color and brush it through. All right, and then just kind of extend it out as far as you want it to go. Gorgeous. And then this just needs a minute or two to dry. And once it's dry, you're going to get that beautiful watercolor wash look. And of course, we're going to spray it with some sheer shimmer after we're done to give it that lovely glitz at the end, and cut it down to the 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 and add a beautiful pop of hot pink in the background. So I hope you were able to draw some inspiration from today's 3 projects, and that if you are looking to DIY your wedding invitations, that you feel like you're ready to tackle the task. If you have any questions, of course you can leave them down in the comments, and there's always a list of products that I used in the description of this video. I'll be back soon with more project inspiration, but until next time, happy crafting.